Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into The Fourth State of Matter, a really profound essay by Joanne Beard. It's an incredible story about personal chaos, tragedy, and survival, and it's all framed by a scientific concept you might not have thought about in years.
Okay, let's jump right in. You probably remember from science class, right? The three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. But there's a fourth one: plasma. Just think of it as the super-energized, electrically charged gas. It doesn't fit into any of those neat little boxes we're used to. It's something else entirely.
And this is where it gets really interesting. What if plasma wasn't just about physics? What if it could describe a state of being? That's the core question in Joanne Beard's essay. See, the title is this powerful metaphor for her own life. A life that was stuck in this intense, chaotic place that just defied any simple definition.
So to really get a handle on this metaphor, we have to step inside her world. And what you find is a life that was, well, a study in extreme contrasts.
So the essay gives us this deeply personal window into her life at the time. She's working as an editor at the University of Iowa, specifically in the space physics department, so she's surrounded by all these brilliant minds thinking about the cosmos.
And here's where you see this stark divide in her life. On one hand, her personal world is just falling apart. Her marriage is ending, she's caring for her old, dying dog, and she feels this profound loneliness. But then you look at her professional life, and it's the total opposite. It's got structure, a predictable routine, and this wonderful sense of community with colleagues she genuinely likes.
This very delicate, complicated balance she has going on, it's about to be completely and horribly shattered by an event that nobody saw coming.
On November 1st, 1991, a former graduate student, Gang Liu, who was apparently angry over an academic prize he didn't win, went on a shooting spree. And his targets? They were his colleagues and professors right there in the physics department where Beard worked.
The result was just devastating. 5 of her colleagues, people she saw every day, people she cared about, were killed. The one place that gave her a sense of community was just decimated in an afternoon.
So this public tragedy, this horrific news story wasn't distant for her. It crashed directly into her personal and professional world. She was left just reeling, completely blindsided by the violence that took her friends and shattered her sense of safety.
So where does a person go from there? How does all of this connect back to that central metaphor of the essay, this idea of living in the fourth state?
Well, that's just it. The trauma from the shooting basically collided head-on with her already crumbling personal life, and that collision pushed her into this profound identity crisis. Everything that had defined her, her marriage, her job, her friends, it was all broken or gone. She was just adrift.
Her reality wasn't solid anymore, That grounded feeling we all rely on? It was gone. The very foundation of her world had been ripped out from under her.
And she wasn't liquid either. She couldn't just flow around this new reality or adapt to this broken world. The grief was just too big, the shock too paralyzing. And she definitely wasn't a gas. She wasn't free to just float away from the pain. In fact, it was the opposite. She was trapped by it, pinned down by the weight of everything that happened. And this is what the title is all about. This is the fourth state. Just like plasma, she was in this high-energy, chaotic state of emotion. Not solid, not liquid, not gas, but this charged, painful, turbulent state of being in between everything. By framing her story this way, Beard does something truly remarkable. She uses her own immense pain to explore these much bigger, universal truths about what it means to be human when your world falls apart. The essay really becomes a lens for all of these deep, complicated parts of life. It's about how we navigate grief, for sure, but it's also about the unique pressures of the academic world, the struggle to balance who we are at home versus who we are at work, and how much our relationships define us, and what's left when they're gone. What this really gets at is how our identities are never just one thing, are they? Beard is wrestling with all these intersecting roles, being a professional woman in a male-dominated field, a wife in a marriage that's ending, and now having this awful new identity forced upon her, a survivor.
In the end, the essay doesn't really give us any easy answers. Instead, it just leaves us with this incredibly powerful question. It's a meditation on resilience, on grief, and on that bewildering, painful process of trying to figure out who you are when the person you used to be has been completely vaporized.